Chapter 1, Under Siege Part 2. In Linda's world, time stood still. While the nation's opinions over the president split in half, Linda stayed indoors. Now a federal witness in a case involving the President of the United States, the once private citizen became a walking target. She and Ken Starr's Office of Independent Counsel, OIC, tasked to investigate the Clinton White House, were verbally gunned down by threats, fueled by an onslaught of accusations and condemnations. Some threats leveled against her life rivaled threats aimed at serial killers, spies, or terrorists. "You're a dead woman, Linda Tripp. There's a bullet with your name on it, you f***ing bitch." It was such a devastating experience that she wanted to crawl up inside herself, roll away, and disappear. Others detailed her imminent demise. "There's a bomb in your car. If it's the last thing I do, I'll kill you." A number of threats arrived by mail and were delivered addressed to Linda Tripp, 21,044, using her zip code like Santa Claus's North Pole. "It was unreal how the U.S. Postal Service found me despite the lack of a real address," Linda dryly recalled. The night Linda was placed in protective custody, into a safe house, outside of her home, she had watched an ambulance with its lights turned off, sluggishly circling her street, the cul-de-sac where she lived. Never stopping, the ambulance repeatedly passed by her house for hours. It was that ambulance which prompted the need for her to go into hiding, considering all the threats she had recently received. Linda was terrified of what this ambulance might symbolize, and her frightened thoughts skirted to the letter left on her Pentagon office chair, months earlier, when she was still a private citizen. "That letter was all I could think of," she remembered, recalling the shock she had felt when she had received it. It said, "Linda, just thought you might find this of interest." With no signature and handwriting she didn't recognize. That cryptic letter listed names of dead people who shared an association with the Clintons. As the ambulance continued its intimidating slow drive outside her home, like a macabre symbol of horror to befall her future, petrified, Linda couldn't sleep. It was about 2 a.m. when she snuck a peek through her blinds to see if the ambulance had left. It had not. If someone were trying to intimidate her, it was working. Thank God her kids had been staying with family. With rising panic, Linda watched the ambulance turn the corner of her street for what seemed like the 100th time. Then she grabbed her phone and dialed her newly minted conservative attorney for help. He, in turn, notified Starr's OIC. Minutes later, Linda's doorbell jarred her already frayed nerves. Outside stood 4 OIC agents. As soon as she opened the door, they raced inside. She saw more agents standing guard posted outside, fully armed, and ready to fire. As most slept peacefully that night, an armed agent told Linda to grab a few things quickly. "We'll get the rest later. Hurry." "What about my dog?" she asked the agents. "Don't worry. We'll take care of it. Please, you've got to come with us now, Mrs. Tripp. You're not safe here. Let's go." A heavy blanket covered her when the agents skirted her into an unmarked car, admonishing her to stay low. That night, Linda was moved twice before federal agents finally settled her into the St. James Hotel, a residence hotel in Washington, which served as her safe house. Her handsome room juxtaposed the ugliness she felt outside. Isolated, she was unable to leave for her own protection, and seeing danger everywhere, she was climbing the walls. Every footstep in the corridors put her on edge. With nothing to do but worry, Linda ate with 2 hands and spent frustrated hours yelling no at the non-stop television speculation coverage. She later described her experience that night as surreal, living in a heightened sense of paranoia. There wasn't a lot of room for extraneous thoughts of mundane things, like for banking or paying bills, she explained. Instead, a churning vacuum of disbelief ruled her. All she could do was obsess that if the Clintons, their aides, and Monica would tell the truth, she could go home, and revert to a footnote. But that was wishful thinking. From her days serving in the Clinton White House, she knew how the Clintons operated to stay in power. Meanwhile, inside the Grand Hotel, people went about their business, oblivious that upstairs the Clintons' enemy number one was holed up. From the St. James Hotel's rooftop, one can see the Watergate apartments where Lewinsky was secluded with her mother, Marcia Lewis. If you turned around, the White House focuses into view. Linda was in the middle, between the intern and the president the entire time. The Clintons couldn't kill her, as their latest scandal grabbed the world's attention, so they did the next best thing: discredited her. Did Linda really believe that Bill and Hillary would have her killed? I asked her. Linda hesitated. She couldn't be sure, but she knew that nothing the Clintons did to hold on to power would surprise her. I don't think the president or one of his henchmen is going to be behind a bush with an Uzi, she said. For Linda, the repercussions of the fear she suffered through during the latest Clinton investigation were still visible, and kept her living in disguise. How long does it take to feel secure after being targeted by death threats? Does that fear ever go away? No one in the world, and especially in America, should be afraid of their government the way Linda was afraid of the Clinton White House. As much as people may personally dislike her for tape recording Monica Lewinsky, she hadn't committed a heinous crime. The question that needed to be answered was why Linda felt she needed an insurance policy to protect herself from the Clintons. I brushed aside the reservations that had bugged me earlier on meeting with Linda Tripp. There are problems on both sides of the political aisle. If one side is not held accountable, the pendulum swings to the other side, and it gets worse. If you are enjoying this content, please subscribe. The Whistleblower is available for purchase in the links below. Thank you for watching.